Hi, with this video, as I promised, I would send out some basics of using forms. So in Chapter 10, you'll be creating a form, and what we want to know here is basically, what is a form, what are some of the pieces we use to it, and what are some of the outside influences we need to know about as well. You've been using forms for years. Google is a form. As you apply to Grossmont College, use a form. A form is simply a place where you put information in and then something happens. So that's the challenge. There's two parts. There's the relatively simple HTML elements that, like it says, that organizes the form and gives you all the options to put your data in. And then the second part is something has to happen with that data. So as you go through the chapter, you'll start reading about the different input tags, text area tags. There'll be places where you just put simply like what's called a text box, and there's parameters such as lengths and values and things like that. Passwords where the data is hidden. There's check boxes. There's radio buttons where you choose one and it deselects the others. There's drop down lists and comment areas. A lot of different options you can have. And in HTML5, there's some really cool things like calendars and spinners and things like that. There's what are called field sets, so you can group fields together. And with the field set tag, it draws automatically a little border around it. The challenge that comes to us is this, that in this, what's called the server-side processing. Something has to happen. You entered a bunch of data and then you hit submit or process or whatever the option is, then something has to happen. And a lot of that something is beyond the scope of this class. So typically PHP or Java or something has to be used to make logical sense of our data. So for example, I'm going to go, if I'm on Amazon.com and here's a data entry form, what am I looking for? If I just type BB King, well, it's not just sitting there waiting for me to email it to me. It's going to actually do something. It's going to interact with a live database. It's going to come back with all kinds of different options. And again, this is well beyond the scope of this class. But let's see what is within the scope of this class. What we're going to want to do is create forms such as, well, here's one I created for a band that I played with. A form basically where people can put in their name, their email address, whatever we ask them to put in. So you can create whatever fields you want for people to fill out. And then in this case, I put a CAPTCHA, and then they click submit. And lo and behold, this information will get emailed to me. And so the way it works, I told you I would show you some magic. Well, let me give you a couple of magical sites. One of them is called Response-O-Matic, and it does exactly what it says. It says you want a form without learning HTML, or yes, either way, and you want it to work. So you create your form, and this is all free. Copy and paste the code to your site, and literally you are done. That's how it works. So let me show you a little bit about how this works. Okay. I'm using another one that's wonderful is Email Me Form. What's so cool about this, again, it's for free. It's free for up to maybe one or maybe two forms. Beyond that, then you have to start paying. But for a lot of us that want a form to actually work, you see, if you just put the code on your website and then hit submit, the server has to know who it's coming from, where it's going to, or updating a database. So what these sites will do is they'll simply email you the results. So Email Me Form. For instance, there's mobile forms that are pre-designed to have responsiveness built in, so they would just fit on a screen. There's ones that are designed to work in multiple languages. There's a whole bunch of different already set up, including what I love are called autoresponders. Because again, once somebody fills in the form and hits submit, they need a reply saying something like, thank you for filling our form, or thank you for completing our survey, or taking them on to some kind of receipt page, or something has to happen. You can't just let them wonder, well, did it work? Now an autoresponder can be set up to, for instance, 2 days later send them an email, and 4 days later send another email, and as many as you choose to. You can make, I've made well over $100,000 in a couple of years with autoresponders alone, selling different products. So how does this work? Well, I've logged in. I have an account. So when I log in, let's see my forms, that one that I was just showing you from the website, and that's called Planet Jack Form. So that's one you start by just clicking on Add a Form, Well, this Planet Jack one, if I want to look at that one, edit. So it has, I added these ones. You just add a field. For your name, you just double click this one. It would add that. Email address, comments or questions. And again, I can type what I want. If I don't want comments or questions, I could say, like, please give me the gig details. Whatever you want. You type it there, it appears here. If I want to add a new field, such as I want to have them enter their phone number, I can simply double click on phone. Oop, added it twice. So you can add and delete what you want. You can move them around. So you can just kind of play with this and create your form. And then if you save the form, which I'm not going to do right now, then you would have this detail. So my forms are here. I'm going to leave this. And then what you do, once you've created it, you just click on code. And then what that does, you can have the HTML only. You simply highlight this, right click, copy, and paste it into your website. And so that's pretty darn simple. And again, that's the kind of thing we had here, and it absolutely will work. It's magical, it's simple, it works for the scope of this class. This is pretty good. You can learn through the Java Jam all the different kinds of controls, and here you can make it work. In a couple of weeks, we'll move on to adding audio and video. So we can just start clicking on buttons. I'd love to sit here and play all our music, but I better move on. Anyway, you get the idea. We're creating forms. Get excited. We're going to add audio and video next week, and that ought to be enough for now. So add a form, add a working form to at least one of your pages, create the Java Jam, and bye for now.